Everyone. My name is Seira, and today I would like to present and share about my creative work, which I created a zine with a theme of From Perspectives, exploring the minoritized community in Japan with the author's lived experiences. Before we move on, I would like to introduce a little more about myself. Growing up, I was born in the US. However, my family moved back to Japan when I was 4 months old, so I don't remember how I was born, but I was born in America, which is a fact. But I lived in Japan most of my life. But growing up, there's always part of me thinking that I was born in America. I wasn't born here. So whoever knows that, people will expect that, oh, maybe she can speak English. And also, I personally had a strong passion to study English, and I had thoughts that I would love to go study abroad to America someday. And when COVID happened, that created a space in my life that to think about what I really want to do, and found myself wanting to go to America to study abroad. So I came to America from my junior year in high school, which is September 2020. Challenging time, but also that was one of the amazing experience I ever had. And now I decided to come to University of Oregon, as well as attending Clark's Honors College. During the winter term, I took a class, Honors College 231, Latinx of ethnography with Professor Catalina Dionis, who I really appreciate. And I'm also planning to do some future research with her over the summer. So I would like to move on to our main theme. And this is about history of Japanese Brazilians, which is often called as Nikkei. So who are the Japanese Brazilians? They are Japanese immigrants or their descendants who live in Brazil. And why that happened is because during the early 20th century, Japan was in such an economic boom, and people were seeking opportunities not only in Japan but also in other countries. So Brazil was another country that has really high demand of labor, of coffee plantation and sugar plantation, and the condition seems good for the Japanese. So the government also encouraged Japanese people to go visit Brazil, go immigrate to Brazil and work there. And some people decide to stay. Now there are 1.3 million Japanese Brazilian, which is the biggest Nikkei community today. And those are some stamps or posters that was around during that 1920s, 1930s time. And you can see that people were excited to go to Brazil. And it was a big opportunity for people at that time. For this slide, I would like to talk about foreign workers in Japan. So right now, Japanese population's decreasing and aging, which is one of the biggest problems that we're facing in Japan. So to cover the workforce, government's trying to seek more foreign workers. So government created some new policies to encourage companies to hire more the foreign workers. However, those policies are not enough, and we're facing some issues such as inequality, work environment wellness issues, lack of education of language or culture. And biggest thing that I want to point out is that because number of foreign workers is still low, so their voices, their struggles are not being heard as much. So for this, I would like to share a little bit of unique side of Japan. And there are a lot of wonderful things about Japanese culture, and I think that Japan has a really unique culture, which is great. But also at the same time, since Japan is homogeneous country, which means over 98% of Japanese populations are Japanese nationals who may look like me or have like darker hair and stuff. And so that living in that kind of environment make us think that we expect people to be like us. So there's a term that's called the stake that stakes out gets hammered in. And so those like marginalized group will struggle to fit into Japanese culture, or those international cultures are facing difficulties to like survive in Japan. So during that class in the winter term, we read a poem from Morales, which she expressed her struggles that she has to build her identities, but also she was really bold and expressive, and she encouraged me to write my own I Am What I Am poem. So I would like to read a poem for you. I am what I am, and I am purely Japanese by my blood. Grew up in a country with rising sun and curry and cherry blossoms, an island with onigiri, sukiyaki, miso soup, and sushi. I love my home country, where I am part of my family, friend group, and society as a whole. I am what I am, and I am the only US citizen within my family as well as among my friend group. I am a citizen of a country with freedom, hamburgers, businesses, and power. I am a friend of Japanese, American, Mexican, Indian, Chinese, Korean, Russian, Vietnamese, and more. I am an international explorer who is not afraid to travel across the Pacific Ocean to study in a different tongue. I am now an American college student who explores what my true passion is. I am what I am, and I am a unique human being who has unique experiences and perspectives. I am what I am, and I am not what people define me. I am not afraid to be me, and hope you're neither. Thank you. So moving on, I would like to ask you, what is home for you? So home is a concept that I started thinking about when I started traveling back and forth to Japan and America. And also I have a one song recommendation, which the title is Home by Angela Aki. She is Japanese American singer who lives in Japan. She's also Japanese, she lives in Japan. And her songs just talks about home, how home is important for each of us, how home, we always long for home. And also she got me thinking that home does not mean a house. Home can be people, their home can be little space that you think about, or the feeling of coziness, feeling of being home. So I took a survey asking people, what is home for you? And people, over 30 people answered to that survey. And I created a word cloud on the left side. People say, home is family, home is love, home is calm, home is quiet, home is peace, home is friends, home is some loved ones. And it was just so nice and comforting to see how people will come up what or how people would define what is home, and learn that home does not mean it has to be a physical house. And that helped me to think about it when I going back and forth Japan and America. So from now on, I have some exciting thing that I want to point out. So first is that I found out that there are some cultural towns or some cities in Japan that has higher foreign worker or foreign nationals populations. For example, in the picture on the left, they have the Brazilian Samba Festival in Oizumimachi, Japan. And that town has a lot of Japanese Brazilians, like Nikkei Brazilians communities. And they have a grocery store, so they have a lot of resources that people can reach out to so they can pursue their identity as well as their culture. And I found an organization called JP Mirai, which supports foreign workers. And this organization collaborate with a lot of companies in Japan to better working conditions for the foreign workers. So I would like to show my creation that I did. So how does the border look like for you? And this was an assignment that we had in the class. And when I was thinking about borders, I never thought about physical borders growing up. However, there are sometimes I felt like I have borders in my heart. And I think some other people could relate to that. So on the right, this is the picture, and the heart shape represent that it's happening in your mind, in your heart. And the heart shape is made out of, it's like a blinder or a curtain that you can pull when you need it, and you can let it go if you don't need it. And some of the eyes are like representing how society view or how you think society is viewing towards you. And this is like a little representation of how borders can look like and how borders can be invisible but still exist in some people. Well, to conclude, here's some references, and I would like to thank Professor Catalina Deonis for her absolutely wonderful support and directing me during this zine making process. And I truly enjoyed this zine creation, and as well as I was passionate about seeking minorities in Japan and how their lives are, how their struggles are. So I would like to continue this research in summer with Professor Catalina as well. And just want to say thank you for everyone who watched this. And here is the QR code that if you like to access to my digital zines, I would be happy if you do. And thank you for your attention. And I hope you were able to learn some things that you didn't know about, as well as being encouraged to not only knowing my perspectives, but also encouraged to think about your perspectives, your uniqueness. You can be used for your research. You can use it for some activities of daily life. You can use that for so many things. You could be able to help people with that. So I just encourage you to think about what are the things that makes you unique, and also have an open heart to those uniqueness around you. Thank you again.